Welcome to the Revolve Recap Weekly Podcast, where this week we have a special version of the podcast. Bill and I spent the last week in Germany reconnecting and building relationships with some of our mission partners that are over in Europe. So this podcast, you may want to actually watch on YouTube instead of listening to just the audio, because we are speaking to some non-native speakers, and I've included the subtitles to what they're talking about, which will help you kind of follow along. They are speaking in English, but the accent can make it a little bit of a challenge. So without further ado, let's get to our episode.
Hallo, wir sind in Deutschland. Ich heiße Bill, mein Freund.
David.
How do you know?
Dawood.
Wir haben
Yes. Yohanna.
Johanna,
Michael
Michael.
Hey.
oder Michael mit Deutsch.
Oh, Michael.
So, welcome to this special remote edition of the Revolve Recap Podcast,
From das Mutterland.
otherwise known as Germany, for those of you who didn't take German in high school.
That's right.
Like
Wilhelm.
some of you who may not have known, Bill and I have been in Germany for the last couple days, and the biggest reason we are here is to spend some time with our friends Michael and Yohanna. And you've heard us talk about Michael and Yohanna for the last couple of years, and now that COVID restrictions are dying down, we are having the opportunity to be with them face to face and be mutual encouragement to one another.
Yeah.
So we welcome them to our remote edition of the Revolve Recap Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Now, for those of you who are tuning in, you probably haven't heard us refer to Yohanna as Yohanna.
Yeah.
You've probably heard us refer to Yohanna as Hadi.
Yeah.
And so Yohanna, can you talk really loudly, and can you maybe tell all of our dozens of viewers
Yes.
what Yohanna means in Greek and why you chose that name?
I chose my name. I liked this name from very before. I wanted to change my name to Yohanna, but I thought maybe the Hadi name is okay. But I decided 2 years ago to change to Yohanna. So now is when I'm speaking with Muslim people from Afghanistan, and they ask me, what is your name? And I tell them my name is Yohanna, and then say, we don't have this name in Afghanistan, what's meaning that? So I have opportunity to share with them who is John, who is Yohanna, and I gonna ask them, if you want, I can share more about John. John was a disciple of Jesus, and Jesus loved him also too much, and he wrote about deity of Jesus, who is really Jesus. So this is opportunity.
Amen. So Yohanna is one of the biggest evangelists that we've ever met, and his story that he just told us is evidence of that. Because how many people change their name so they have more opportunities to witness? Love you, brother. And Michael, did you change your name? Just Michael. But Michael Michael is from Egypt, and most people wouldn't think that Michael is an Egyptian name. They would think Mohammed or something like that. So can you maybe explain? Because some people probably don't know that there's a population of believers in
Yeah,
Egypt.
actually, Egypt it's a Islamic country, but there is a minority Christian, and we believe this minority keep their beliefs. And for this Egyptian church, it's a strong church, and we say it's built on blood, because a lot of people died, sacrifice their life to be a Christian. And also the families, they are not maybe too serious to take a relation with God, but they take it as a religion. Like my family, they mean to give a Christian names or Western names, rather than use Arabic Islamic names. They try to be super proud, and they are happy to pay the price. Like in 4 years old, they can take the child and they make a Christian tattoo, like this cross.
Oh, wow.
It's a Coptic cross. To be sure, you should be proud of your religion, and you should be ready to pay the price. And we grow up in this culture, and I don't like to call it belief, because many of the Christians in Egypt, they just use it as a religion, as an ID name. But everyone need to take a serious step with God personally to take a decision to follow Jesus or not from his heart.
So you don't, even in places, like Egypt and all over the world, you have people that are culturally religious, culturally Christian, culturally Muslim, but even though your name is Michael, your family's Christian, that you still need to make that decision to follow Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have been talking about the last few weeks here at Revolve about abiding and the importance of abiding, and that abiding is the bridge between our identity as we surrender to Christ and we figure out who we are as believers. The abiding is what links that identity to the action of making disciples. So we're spending some time in the Word and just really figuring out what it means to have a healthy, abiding relationship. And I apologize for the noise outside. We're not in our fancy podcasting studio here. We are in the basement of a place called Kairos House. And the Kairos House, just really quickly, I can do that.
Sure.
You're
Yeah, das ist gut.
Nein. The Kairos House is a house that was built as a housing for refugees who are Muslim background believers.
MBB.
if you're in the
know.
in the circle, in the DMM, CPM world. But this is a safe house for people who may not feel safe. They might be vulnerable within the refugee camp. So they can come here and be safe. And so we've been here. This has been our home base for the last couple days as we've been talking and learning more about refugee ministry here in Germany. So, but back to abiding. So what we'd like to do is, last week on the podcast, Bill and I gave our personal routines and our personal thoughts on abiding. And we just thought it'd be interesting to hear from brothers from other cultures and other areas. What does abiding look like for you personally, for you in your ministry?
Like, what's a daily example of what do you do on any given day to spend time with Jesus and remain close to him?
Yes, I remember when I work with refugee in Greece. I had a friend, and always when he wake up, he asked me, Yohanna, what God is speaking to you today? And every day he repeat these questions, and sometimes I get nervous. What he asking every day? Look like asking me what God is speaking to you. And then when I grow up, I told yes, any believer, if they obey God, obey Jesus, and read the Bible every day, daily, God will speak something to them through His word and obedience. So from that time I start to first to study the Bible daily and going deep and thinking and praying. So it was look like the first step of look like obedience, and the Bible always taught us how we can obey Jesus through the prayer, helping the people, sharing the gospel, to be good disciple.
So would you say early in your decision to follow Jesus, the person who discipled you taught you very early on that you need to start your day reading the Bible to hear from him how to obey?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was very early on you developed that.
Yeah. He actually doesn't told me you need to study the Bible.
Okay.
But he continually every day he just he said, tell me what God is speaking to you today. So it's make me really to think, and sometimes I feel today didn't God speak to me, yesterday also, this week also, but after that I recognize, because if God doesn't speak to you, look like I think it's coming from this obedience. If you don't read the Bible, if you do not go, you don't pray, if you don't going to the church, if you don't fellowship, if you don't forgive or love your brothers, So this means disobedience. So never, maybe God doesn't speak you, but when you start to study the Bible, when you start to going out sharing the gospel, when you love your brother, when you forgive your brother, and after that, yes, of course, speaking you.
Yeah, it says in John that if you love me, you will obey me. And if you obey me, the Father will reveal himself more to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Yohanna really just beautifully summarized, that as you obey God, God reveals more of who he is, and it continues to grow in that way. What about you, Michael?
For me, I can summarize it in one word I call Emmanuel. Because I believe God, He is not in the heaven. I want to just make something good for Him to make Him happy and smiling, or send a gift from me, for me like this from the heaven. But it's a connection and a relationship. And I started learning about this, how to start my day with God. When I just wake up, I didn't go first from my bed, but I say, hey, Papa. I use the word Father many times. And it's really dear to my heart to remember he is my Papa, my Father, and he understands me, and he is with me. And Emmanuel, I have a different perspective. He is just God with us, God in our team. It's also in the judge, God in my side. He is not judging me, but he coming to defense about me. He is in my team. He is in my side, and he is with me in my boat also.
Yeah.
There is different filters to see the real photo about Emmanuel, and this is always my daily feeling. Like I wake up, I still in the bed, I speak without any text. Hey, Papa, I feel this. This is my mind. I just bring in what I am still not awake enough, but I start my day with him, and my son start do it with me. When they wake up, they just run to hug me. I am not wake up yet, but they jump in my bed and hug me. Good morning, Papa, and hug me. And yes. I do it the same with God. And after I start playing song, Christian song, and I just prepare a coffee and I sit to read the Bible. It's like a warm up, and I go a little bit. I feel I am in a mood, like in a company of God, in the presence of the Lord personally. I'm not in the church alone, but I feel I am God surround me.
Yeah.
And when I read, it's like, okay, we start our day, and let's you and I, God, go and look in the text and tell me what you need for the world, what you need for the mission, what you need for the church. Like we start our relation, and now He speak and trust and give me trust for something else outside my personal needs, my personal struggle.
That's great. It's really amazing when you think about it how, I mean, you have 4 different people here, and we didn't talk about this before, but, you know, if you were here as a fly on the wall, and trust me, there's a lot of flies in this room, if you were here as a fly on the wall, you would be here and you would see us all kind of be tired, you know, going to bed at midnight, getting up at 6 a.m., and just kind of stumbling over to the table. And you see us reading and you journaling and taking notes, and you see people thinking and pausing. And it's not like we saw David do that, and so we were like, oh gosh, I gotta read my Bible. David's doing it. That's just the routine. And I love the way that you mentioned Emmanuel, because sometimes we think of God with us as in, well, God's in the room.
Yeah.
But like you can be in the room and not pay attention to someone.
Yes.
But the idea that God is attentive to you, He is giving you His focus, He's giving you His care. I think of Romans 8. He is for you and not against you. I mean, those kinds of things. There's so many facets or layers to that idea, and so that's really beautiful. That's really great.
So one thing we want to talk about, just so the family of Revolve and the church can know a little bit more about your ministry, why don't you guys briefly let us know what is maybe some of the things that are coming up that in your ministry that you're looking forward to, or we could be praying for you about, and then as Bill and I are in contact with you, we can be updating everybody. I know Johannes has a debate a debate coming up that we've all four of us have been kind of talking about and working through, which has been kind of fun. And I know you have some disciples that you're going to be meeting with this afternoon or later on today. So why don't you let everybody know some of the things that are coming up?
Yes, as you say, is one we have a debate maybe next week, and I want to pray for that.
Yeah.
And
Why don't you tell people
Yeah.
who are you debating? You don't have to give a name, but you can describe the type of person it is,
And what it's going to be
what
like.
it's going to be about, and things like that. And make sure you talk
yes.
nice and loud. Talk like a loud, obnoxious American.
Yeah, that's why Yohanna loves us so much, because we're so soft-spoken like him.
Yes.
Yes, I my voice is not very strong, so yes, the man who I'm debating with him actually is the first debate who I'm doing online, and he is one big Sheikh Mullah, and he is Iranian. He is very educated, and then he told me, if you like, let's debate about if Jesus created or he is a creator, and then we're gonna debate about this subject
On Instagram, right? Instagram Live?
Yeah.
So, if what is a mullah or a sheikh for people who don't know?
Yeah.
Because they think mullah, that's just a slang for money.
Yeah, and shake is something you drink with chocolate.
Yeah. So, what's a mullah?
Yeah. Mullah is, do you know Mullah?
He is a religious leader.
Yeah, he's a religious
but high
leader.
level, like
Yeah.
leader of leaders.
Like the Pope,
Not a pope, something like diacon.
the cardinal,
Yes,
or something like
Cardinal,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, they wear specific clothes, and when they study a lot of years, look like Islamic theology. They are reading and study so much every day, maybe 8 hours. They
Wow. So,
study.
so what's the difference between a sheikh and a mullah? Are they the same thing?
I think
It's all like a respectful names,
Okay.
and sometimes they give it for people because they are just older people and wise people. They just give it as a name without study. But Mullah, he spend the time in study, and he prepare for debate.
So is it like a professor or
Yeah,
different?
not in very academic way, because they didn't read the academic books. They read books written by older sheikhs.
Okay.
I think is when become Ayatollah, they are writing book.
Yeah.
Themselves.
And what's an ayatollah?
Ayatollah is bigger than Sheikh and Mullah.
It's a mean direct translation. It's like miracle from God.
Yeah.
He
So-
turned to be a miracle from God.
So probably the closest parallel for people in America would be if you think about the structure of the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
You know, you have the priest who's like the imam, right?
yeah.
And then what's above the priest?
Cardinal?
The cardinal or the bishop, and you have these different levels.
Yeah.
And so you think of it like that. So you have like the imam and the sheikh and the ayatollah,
Yes.
and then who's the
Ayatollah, I think, is the.
is he the top guy?
Maybe the top, yes.
Yeah, no, there is another one in Iran. He is
Is Wali Faqih. Is
faqih. Yeah, he is like kind of prophet.
He's like the pope.
Higher, like kind of prophet. He listens
Whoa.
from God.
Whoa, higher than the pope.
Yeah.
higher than the
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he wear a funny hat? Because the Pope wears a funny hat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Don't cancel me.
He say, I didn't.
Yeah, the next coming. So I'm doing this next week. Next week I gonna meet some of our disciple, and maybe tomorrow we will do also some home churches.
Yeah.
Home church.
So one of the things that Yohanna was talking to us about before is leading and discipling by example. And so he said to us, I'm going to leave tonight so that tomorrow I can do a house church with the disciples in one of the other cities, because that's also a form of discipleship. Discipleship isn't just teaching. Discipleship is also modeling. And so it's important that, so Yohanna will travel around, and if he has disciples in this city or that city, he'll try to go and spend time with them and do these things together so they can learn to do it on their own when he's not there as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And, we would tell you all to tune in on Instagram to listen to the debate, but you would have
Farsi's probably.
would have no idea what they were talking about.
I still think it'll be fun because then when every time Yohanna's talking, we could be putting the thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a big thing for me to start because if I start to debate with Mullah, I think I never allowed to go someday in Iran.
Yeah.
But I just decided to do.
Okay.
Wow. See, those are things that we don't think about in America because we have freedom of speech. That worst case scenario, somebody will get mad at us. But Yohanna just said if he does this debate, what will happen is he'll never be able to return home. And so those are significant things.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break and give you some announcements, and then we're going to come back and hear from Michael of some of his upcoming ministries and what's God's been doing in his life. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right. Well, I'm back here in New Jersey in the office studio with your Revolve What's Up announcements. This week, really the big announcement is we are preparing to move to Lower Cape May Regional in the end of September. We have a couple more weeks at 2 Mile, and then we will be moving over to LCMR into their auditorium and some of the classrooms. So we are looking for serve staff volunteers to help us with setup. So if you're interested in that, please sign up on Sunday or contact the office to let us know if you're interested on that so that we can start a rotation and maybe only have to serve once a month or every couple of weeks. Also, we have the hub starting back up mid-September in about 2 weeks, and we're going to be doing that at the office, and that's going to be on Tuesday nights. I'm going to be teaching that along with Victor Davis. So if you'd like to join us for that, please sign up on Sunday or again, contact the office. All right, back to Germany.
Willkommen, we have returned.
Yes. So we were kicked out of our room. There's another meeting, and this is actually a really beautiful place. Hopefully the sound will be okay. But we want to hear from Michael and a little bit about his ministry. So Michael, what's some things that are coming up that you're looking forward to?
Last couple months, Billy was helping me to reforming my vision and make it clear and see how to work, because my ministry, it's not one direct focus, but has different layers, like different areas. Like what we are doing here, we're encouraging new leaders in Germany, but I still have my own small local church, what we planned. For this, I have like a different heads.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just confusing, and I make everything to work good, and I didn't say no. But last couple months with Bill, I reorganized it in circles, and I can see it in different ways, and it worked more beautiful to understand. Yes, this is outside my work frame. This is inside, and it helped me to make it more creative. What happened in the ground now? 6 months ago, we started planting our home church, and it was amazing. When we rent, it was the only apartment available, and when we enter it, it's a full furniture, and we found a piano, we found a projector, we found everything like a church. And the people before us, they are a missionary, and they make it like a home church. And they left, they stopped everything. But when we arrive, it's in my heart, we should start home church from here. But something in my heart say, you will not do it alone. And it's a mark, I will not be the hero, the super speaker, famous person, but we will work as a family. And one friend, he visited me, and in the first impression, he said, hey man, this place look like a church. I told him, let's start it together. He said, I can't carry it alone. I told him, I can't carry it alone too, let's make it together. And we started as a cross-cultural church, to be like international church, welcoming all the immigrant people, but with integrated part with the German believers. Because I believe they own the land. You are here like guests in their land, and we need to work together. I don't like to create a bubble, but in my heart to bring refugees, immigrant, African, Arab, Persian, people from Asia, and we start inviting everyone to join, and the German, our neighbors, start to come. And now we are around 18 persons attend every week, and we say, okay, God, we don't need to build it in our own, but we need to find people to carry the vision. And I start asking this question: Are you attendees, or you are a vision carriers? And we start asking people, and now we are around 6 person will be responsible for this church. And now the time it came to kick us out from this apartment, and God sent us another smaller apartment, but just for living. And now we are looking in these weeks for a bigger room, but we don't look in church building. We are looking in cafe, in office, in something, because from the first day, it's a building our DNA to be sending a church, to be in the ground, to be a mission church, not just building a bubble, secure place, but we start to speak about we are looking for the people always. The multiplying, it's in our DNA from the beginning, but maybe we will not using the small groups, the home groups always, but we will have this idea of church has their own groups inside and they can multiplying after. And it's internationally because a lot of people internationally, but it's a very good potential for people coming just for study and they will back to their countries as a missionaries. And this is our idea, not as an official missionary, but they carry the salvation in the hearts and they can be a professor, doctor, but they have Jesus. And they back to China, to India, Pakistan. This area, it's hard to send the missionary, but they back with a faith in the heart.
So if you listen to what Michael was saying, he's describing a vision very similar to Revolve, where everybody who would come to his international church would be equipped to live out their faith here or there if they go back home. And because they've had modeled to them a healthy, simple church environment, then when they go back to their home country, they would know how to help start a simple home church environment, and they'd have those resources and skills, which has been Revolve's vision all along. You know, someone from the Coast Guard comes through, we equip them so that if they go on a cutter,
Big ship.
big ship,
Cutter,
if they wind up on a cutter, then they would know how to start a simple church on that cutter or a simple Bible study, and they would know how to have those conversations. So it's a very similar vision to what God has put in our hearts.
Yeah, soon in next couple weeks, maybe before the end of October, we will launch it officially, and we found now like official umbrella to be legally, and we will have a website, and we have go in social media. But now we use the word of mouth, and we try to use unpublic ways, like we have like a channel in Telegram. It will allow many contact people, but without numbers, no one can reach them, and we just remind them. But we looking for soon to make like an Instagram page to just seeing what's going on, and our next plan to now we are describing the 7 churches, and after we are thinking to start to focus not just preaching but workshops. And we are thinking to start 6 weeks from the ABC's book, and it will be our manual for 6 weeks to build. I believe it's like a baby, and this is very important to start it very early.
Yeah, the mission, the vision.
Not just starting about the heavy topics, but we need to make balance between the biblical direct ministry, but also to understand what's the vision to it, what's our building DNA for baby church.
Amen.
DNA before action.
So God has really been faithful when you think about how many nations are represented in the Christ house.
More than 9 nations.
9 different nations represented in the house church. That's awesome.
Yeah, and at Revolve we have like Lower Township, the Villas.
Yep. Maybe somebody who's here from Pennsylvania on vacation.
Yeah. So maybe they're like Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania Dutch. That was good, David.
Yeah. So as you can hear, hearing from Michael and his ministry and his heart and just the work that he's doing here, you can see why we are so excited to partner with Michael and support him and his family and his ministry. And it's been a real blessing to be face to face with Michael for
first time in 3 years.
First time in 3 years. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and
he gets to see my beard.
Yeah.
That's my nickname in Germany is Bearded Billy.
Bearded Billy. Yeah. So.
You got anything else to say?
We need you to pray for the next step for the coming soon. We're also planning a discipleship leaders team with Bill and David, and we prepare for it. It will be 2 phases online, and the third phase it will be in Italy. And we are praying it will happen in February. We don't know, but we're just working to prepare it. Maybe we have registered 20 leaders. They are excited to join us, but we will not accept everyone. We try to filter in
Are some of the people who are here today people who would be there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's going to happen is there's about 20 leaders, maybe give or take, who are going to do a Zoom training with us and Michael, and we're going to fold Michael in so he can help lead that, and then that will culminate, Lord willing, with the Refugee Highway Partnership Conference that's in Italy in February. And so, Lord willing, we would go, and then we'd have some FaceTime with the leaders to help them vision cast and to focus. Because the whole idea here is to just give it away. Give it away.
Yeah.
Equip leaders, give it away. 2 Timothy 2:2 says, entrust to faithful men. And the idea of entrusting is not just that you give it and hold on, but that you give it and then you trust that they're going to carry it, the torch, and they're going to run with it, like Michael is doing, like Yohanna is doing. And so we're just really blessed that God led us together. And maybe when we get back from Germany and we're back in our studio, when we're back in our office building, David and I can share the story of how we all met.
Yeah. So thanks so much for tuning in. And we're going over now. We're gonna. I'll cut it.
Well, we got to ride my horse.
Oh. All right, Billy.
I'm gonna get on my horse so that we can go back to the United States.
Yeah,
All right.
Just one horse. I don't know what David will do.
Well, thank you for tuning in to that episode. It was great to reconnect with Yohanna and Michael after all these years. You know, we went to Germany, or we went to Greece for the first time over 3 years ago, and that is where we first met Yohanna and Michael. Yohanna we met on Lesbos, and Michael we met in Thessaloniki, and we just continued to be friends with them over the last couple of years and build those relationships. And now these relationships are turning into, multi-generational leadership development. As we pour into Yohanna and Michael, they are now pouring into their leaders, and we're seeing discipleship principles multiplied all throughout Europe within Muslim background believers. So it was really great to connect with them. Thank you guys for your support, for being just so supportive as a church to allow us to focus on these unreached people groups outside the United States. So thanks again for tuning in to the Revolve recap, and we'll see you all again on Sunday.